He raised his glass and smiled like a man who believed he'd earned the right to be loved. "Tonight," my father said, voice booming over the clinking of silverware, "I want to thank my real children, the ones who made me proud." The applause hit like thunder. Faces beamed, glasses lifted. Then his eyes found mine. "You," he said, pointing with that same glass, "can leave." Silence. I stood, calm, deliberate. But before I could speak, my husband, Daniel, stood too. And what he did next changed everything. There was a time I thought my father was a giant, the kind of man whose approval could warm the coldest part of me. Growing up, I lived for his nods, his rare smiles, the way he'd say, "You've got potential, kid." But potential, to him, was currency. Love was a transaction, and I never paid enough. My brothers, they played the part. Football scholarships, business degrees, big careers. I went my own way, literature, art, a life that didn't revolve around his reflection. He called it rebellion. I called it survival. When Daniel entered my life, I thought I'd escaped the orbit. He was quiet, measured, kind in the way quiet men often are. He listened when I spoke about the bruises you can't see, the kind that form from words. He told me, "You don't need his approval to exist." I almost believed him. Then I found out Daniel was meeting my father behind my back. It started with a slip, my father mentioning a deal Daniel had handled perfectly. I didn't remember telling him about Daniel's new project. The next day, I checked Daniel's emails. A message chain, dozens of them. "She'll never suspect anything. Once it's transferred, I'll step back." "You're right, she's too emotional for business." My father had found a new son, in my husband. The betrayal didn't hit all at once. It spread, like smoke seeping under a locked door. I sat there, reading every word, feeling my pulse slow. He wasn't just taking money, he was taking my place in my father's hierarchy. The last shred of worth I had in that man's eyes. I didn't scream, I didn't confront him. I learned. I learned the numbers, the accounts, the investments Daniel had funneled under my name. They thought they'd left me out, but they used my signature, forged but legal-looking enough to make me liable. I smiled through dinners, kissed him goodnight, waited. The plan took 3 months. First, I created a digital trail, reversed the money flow, rerouted assets, and left a trail that led back to Daniel and my father. Second, I leaked small inconsistencies to the family accountant, just enough to raise questions. Third, I made sure every transaction pointed to the two of them as co-conspirators in tax fraud. Then I waited for the perfect stage, my father's retirement dinner. Back to that night. The applause still rang in the room when I stood, my pulse steady, my voice calm. "I won't make a scene," I said softly. "You've made enough of one." I turned to leave, but Daniel's hand caught mine. "I think everyone should hear something first," he said. My father's smirk returned. "Daniel, sit down. This isn't your—" Daniel's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen and froze. Then another buzz. Then another. The whispers started. People checking their phones, murmuring. News alert. Businessman and partner under federal investigation for tax evasion and embezzlement. My father's company name. His. Daniel's. Both. My father's smile collapsed. He looked at me, the color draining from his face. "What did you do?" I tilted my head, just slightly. "What you taught me," I said. "Protect my worth." Daniel turned to me, desperate. "You've ruined everything." "No," I said quietly. "You did." He lunged for me, but my brother stepped between us. The same brother who once called me the disappointment. Now he looked at me like he'd just seen a ghost. I walked toward the door. Behind me, I heard my father shout, demanding, ordering, begging, all the tones he'd ever used on me, now tangled in panic. It was the sweetest sound I'd ever heard. The next morning, their accounts were frozen. The house, my childhood prison, was seized within a week. Daniel tried to call. My father didn't. I sat by the window with a cup of coffee, watching the sunrise over silence. For once, the air didn't feel heavy. People ask if I regret it. I don't. Regret is for those who still crave forgiveness. Me? I just wanted peace, and I earned it. When I think of that dinner now, I don't remember the applause or the stares. I remember the look in my father's eyes, the first time he realized I'd outplayed him. He wanted to raise a glass to the children who made him proud. Turns out, I finally did, just not the way he expected.